Hello. Hey, Rahul. Yeah, good morning and good afternoon. People joining from different regions. I hope everybody is doing good. So far people are joining. Maybe we'll wait for just one more minute. We'll
Yeah.
give them some time and then we'll get started.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Tuba. Tuba is here. Hello, Nitin.
I'm Sim. Hi, Tuma.
Hi, Jency. Hi, Sugumar. Hello, Saravanan. Wow. Hi, Vidya. Hi, Ankita. Manjusha. Nicholas. So
Good to
Rahul
see many
started
of them.
testing air meat, it seems. Okay. Hi Amit. Hello Chase. Yeah, good evening. Thanks for joining from Texas. Hello Ram.
Good to see many
Yeah.
known faces here, right?
Yeah, I think the crowd is also a variety of crowd, I think, Everybody is so curious to hear about the interesting topics which you have brought us today. So
Oh,
even I'm
oh,
so interested also. I'm one of the a very curious participant. Okay. Then again, welcome you all. Hello, Mahdi. So, welcome you all. It's really good to see you all here, and thank you so much for planning to spend your Saturday with us. And we'll make sure that you'll definitely learn something new today, and because of our wonderful speaker and the wonderful topic which we have. Okay, so let's get started officially. And as you see, I'm Priscilla. I'm going to be your host for today, and along with our speaker Anu. Okay. So first, few slides which we have related to Synapse, as we always do. So this is our vision, which we are planning to do. Like it's a community-driven platform, and where we are trying to connect minds from different location and different regions, which is going to helpful which is going to be helpful to build a very better community for the entire QA. And I believe we have got people outside of QA as well, like joining on. And initially we started as a writing platform, but right now we are trying to do which is which is extraordinary, other than writing, like many sort of journals which we are trying. So this is all about our vision. And this is just an brief introduction about or even the achievements, and like what we did for the last year. And the platform is completely free. There is no need of any fee or something. You're just going to join us, and you're just going to be part of Synapse family. And since March, it was one of the globally acclaimed platform, and we have 40 plus synapses who are joined with us. And we are trying to curate and provide you the best contents, because we know internet is already like flooded with a lot of contents and a lot of topics. So every topic, even with part of our super read sparks also, whatever the topics which we made or which we brought to you, was all tailor made for you, right? I really believe like you guys enjoyed every session. And we are trying to create, or we are trying to think to redefine the process of creativity, not just going by the usual webinar or something. Everything we're just trying to innovate, or just trying to do something new. And so far we have like conducted or hosted 4 global events, and one meetup, and one parallel learning series, which we all know, like which was a very unique thing which we tried, and Teller of Tales broadcast. And then we have the study notes as well, like how that works, right? Our people, our Synapse family people, will try to read and like prepare an, notes for you, which will be really helpful to the new joinees, and the novice person who are going to getting started with the doula technology. So that's how it works. And we always believe in coexistence, so we will be trying to partner with the other QA communities as well. And so far we have been part being part of 5 global testing conferences also. So, and we are counting more definitely for this year also. You can see much more initiatives and much more conference pairing up. It'll be happening this year. So this is all about Synapse. And yeah, so the topic of today. So you all know. it's going to be with level up testing with Postman. So who doesn't love Postman? Is it like everybody wants to know, learn something? But what we thought of today is like we thought of bringing something which is like from zero to hero, as Anu mentioned. Because why it is from zero to hero is like users who are totally new to Postman will definitely learn something today from Anu, and who are already a good user of Postman definitely will have something to learn, which is a beta feature, or which is even related to the monitoring or something integrated with some other tools or something. Anu really has something special for us today. And okay, so just a bit of introduction about Anu. We all know she's totally having more than like a decade of experience into quality assurance, and she has been into different domains, and she's leading a team, and she's currently been a lead automation engineer with Kissflow. We all know, right? And we are seeing Anu. She's been part of many QA communities. She's trying to like help others, and especially all the women across, and she's trying to do the best, right? So we all know Anu. I don't think we don't need any much further introduction to her, and it's really wonderful, like it's we all honored to have Anu as part of his talk today. So this is the agenda, okay? And we all know this is all which Anu is going to cover, and we all shared it out in the LinkedIn as well. So just the basic topics and some advanced topics as well. So it's a mix and match. So you'll learn it, and along with the bonus features, the cool features of beta, and then finally you will have your time for Q&A session, okay, which we'll be picking up some questions, okay, based on the timings, of course. And then finally the best part, the quiz. So you'll be having a quiz, okay, which we will be like running real time, okay. And we'll be having a leaderboard as well. So the top three winners will be getting these swags from Postman, so which is worth of 200 USD. Who doesn't love swags, right? So everybody wanted to get it. So please listen to the session, and most of the questions, of course, if you are able to listen the session, definitely you will be able to crack through the quiz as well, okay. And without any further delay, I'm so happy to welcome Anu today. Hello Anu, thanks for joining.
Hello, Priscilla. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. And good morning and good evening, everyone. A big thank you from my heart to all of you for taking time to attend this session. And thanks, Synapse QA, for this wonderful opportunity to learn, share, and grow along with the community. It's always special, to share something what you explored with the community, to always check the pulse of the community also, whether they are able to relate to what you are trying to learn or explore, whether you are learning something that can add value to the career, others career as well. So let's get started. I don't want to take much of time.
Sure.
Let me Priscilla, just give me a thumbs up when you see my screen.
Sure, I know, I'll stay.
Is my screen visible?
Not it for me, maybe.
Okay. Is it now?
Yeah, no, perfect. Level up with testing with Postman. I can see the first slide. You can start.
Is it in full screen or should I?
Yeah, it's in full screen. I know it's in full screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I know, all the best. I'll just hide me for some time. Okay. I'm here,
Sure.
but I'll be hearing you. Okay. All the best,
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
excited
you.
to hear. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Okay. So again, I welcome you all for this session. I'm Anuradha Raman. Thank you all for joining this session on a weekend. So a quick intro about myself. I work as a lead test automation engineer at Kissflow, a SaaS startup. I live with my family in Chennai, India. So I am an active member and a contributor in different testing communities. So recently I have become part of the Supernova program by Postman. So let's get started to know about like what is basically a supernova or a supernova program actually. So I'm sure like many of you might be interested in knowing what does a supernova mean, and what is the program like. So Postman Supernova is a designation given to a leader that extra mile to share their learning, knowledge, and experience with Postman with the community. So this can take a range of different forms, from running meetups to sharing knowledge at workshops to evangelizing Postman on stage at virtual events. So supernovas are basically ambassadors who represent Postman's community and values. I'm sure there will be many in the audience to take up this program. So I welcome you all to join and be part of Postman's Supernova program. You will definitely enjoy the ride. I have been, and I think Priscilla will also agree to that. Okay, so getting on to today's session. I think as testers, we all are convinced and it is proven API testing is critical, and API testing can help come into the rescue of a tester during huge regression cycles, or probably you are the only QA resource in your project and trying to crack through automation along with many other course of a tester. So the goals of API testing. So what do you cover as part of basic API testing? So you determine whether the API is going to meet the expectations for your functionality. I mean, all the functional validations with respect to an endpoint is fine. And you are going to assess the performance of the API and probably the load, whether the API is able to handle the load when it is live for the public. And you are going to check about the reliability and of course about the security of the API. How secure is your API? Any sort of hacking or SQL injection can happen to the API or not. So these are the various levels of testing, or probably various aspects of testing that you can perform as part of API testing. So let's focus on this session. Will focus more on the functionality aspect of API testing. And we will try to cover about performance and as well as reliability as well during the demo sessions. So coming to the goals of API testing, the first and foremost would be to test the interface. That means you need to test each URL of the API. I see many beginners of API testing assume that if you are able to send a request and get a response, they assume that would be the end of testing the functionality of an API. Unfortunately, not so. There are many other validations and probably tests that you can perform on an endpoint to assure whether the API is functioning as expected. So just like you write your UI test cases, right? I mean, when you are testing a user interface, you write positive test cases, negative test cases to assess the functionality of the UI. You have to start writing positive test cases and negative test cases. I mean, the happy path and the sad path or the unhappy path for an endpoint. Let me explain with an example like how a positive test case and a negative test case of an API can be written. So positive test cases describe the happy path scenarios where errors result in failed tests. This is 200. Okay, you expect when you are trying to insert a record or you are trying to create a record and you get a 404 or probably you are getting a 400 with the valid input, then it is a positive test case. And because you were expecting 200, okay, and you are getting a response code as 400, so that would be a positive test case that you are writing for an endpoint. And a negative test case describes the unhappy path where expected results, errors result in a 404. In a passed test, you are trying to access and you are trying to retrieve a record with a non-existing ID. So in that case, you will be expecting a 404. Then the response is also matching with 404. Then negative test will result in a passed test. So these are this is just an example, or probably I can explain with another example also. Your API might have a rule that you can't create two records with the same company name or with some same kind of a duplicate attribute name. So in that attempt, you are trying to break the API behavior. So you should be the API should be returning, like, let's say, like if you are going to try to create a duplicate record, it should return a 400. So in that case, it would be a good example of a negative test case. So basically, you are trying to proactively explore the edge cases while you are executing or while you are designing your negative test cases for the API, so that you can assure the resilience of the API in your production or when they become public to your customers. So these are some of the basics of API testing. And with Postman, what and all you can should I zoom my, are you able to see all the, let me try to zoom also. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I think it's visible. What and all tests you can write as part of your write tests, or what and all testing you can cover as part while you use Postman. So let's start with the regression testing. So we all know, like, when our applications evolve and when the applications become grow day by day, regression test suite becomes heavy to manage, maintain. So automating the regression test using UI and executing all the regression test cases via UI is going to be very very confusing, and as well as, like, it's going to be time consuming one. So if you plan to automate the regression testing using the APIs, it will be a quick feedback cycle that you can try. And also, let's say, like, understanding the changes done for the particular sprint, or understanding the changes that have been. Let's take an example of during a sprint, only the APIs have been tweaked for a performance, or some API input parameters were vulnerable to security attacks. So your backend engineer has only changed those parameters, or probably he has made it more secure. In that case, you don't need to do a manual round of regression testing, or probably you don't need to run your UI test cases. In that case, you need to test the API for all the regression. You need to retest all the test cases that you ran in your previous cycle. So those kind of regression test cases that are crucial for validating the API and the product's functionality, that can be automated using Postman, and you will be able to get the feedback quickly. And many testers in the community post a question saying that I'm not able to complete the test automation for the current sprint within the sprint itself. There is always a backlog in automation. So, for example, if there were 2 features that was released as part of the current release, you will be taking up those 2 features for automation in the next sprint only, because you will be busy focusing on the functional testing, and you have to cover the API testing as well, where you have to check all the endpoints are working correctly. So with the crunch in resources and the lack of time during the sprint, the test automation backlogs increase. So at least when you start using Postman for all the test cases to cover in the current sprint, you will be able to provide the report, the test automation report of your endpoints in the current sprint itself, that can bring a huge value add for your QA team. So you will also feel confident about signing off your APIs and the functionality of the product. It's going to be more than 80% if your API is working correctly, and you have tested almost more than a coverage of 80 to 85% coverage you have done through API. I'm sure, like, you can confidently sign off the release, even though you have not automated the UI features of the current release completely. So take my word, I have been following that as in my current project. I ensure, like, I automate all the endpoints provided to me for that current sprint in the sprint itself, within the sprint itself, and provide the collections and share it with my team members in the Postman Workspace. When the developer is ready with the technical design document and they are going to provide you the endpoints, start writing, use the mock servers to create the endpoints, or probably the samples with the sample data, and start writing your test cases, automate them within the collection. So it will collaborate with the team, and they will be able to provide you a value add, like what are the tests you can add to the endpoint, so that you can assure the quality of the API. And of course, if there are any performance gaps, it can be identified within the test cycle itself, and need not be taken right after developing the UI and delivering it to the customer. So I think I covered most in the regression testing itself. Let's go to the scenario test. Scenario test is nothing but how you test from the user perspective. Let's take an example of logging into an e-commerce application and ordering a particular product. So you log into the application, you browse for a specific product, you add it to the cart, you pay it with a valid credit card. It's a happy path. And of course, there is always a negative path that you can take and your customer can take. They can try to check out a product which is out of stock, or they can try to pay with a expired credit card. So all those flows or user journeys have to be automated. That you can achieve through a collection runner in Postman. We are going to cover all this. I mean, all the types of testing what I'm mentioning here, how it can be done in Postman as well. I'm just going to show it when we go to the demo session. Just I'm giving a intro of all the types of testing that can be done, achieved through Postman. And performance test. So coming to the performance test, you can non-functional testing is as important as functional testing of an API. So to start with performance testing, you can start assessing the response time each API is going to give the response. The basic test would be to assess the response. Let's say like there is an SLA, like every API should be returning in response within 100 milliseconds. So that could be a good use case or a test case to start with a performance test for an API. So you will be ensuring like the API is performing well when it is delivered to a customer. Sometimes we don't test it with the actual tested data. Let's say like 100 users are going to access the same API at the production in the production, but we will not be able to simulate those kind of thing during our QA cycle. So Postman helps you in doing all that. Newman lets you run parallel execution of all your tests. So you can simulate like there are 100 plus users accessing the same endpoint, and whether the response time is within the agreed SLA, like 100 milliseconds, the response is being given to the user. So those kind of tests, and there are like various other tests you can perform as part of your performance testing using monitoring, etc. To start with, I think at least we should concentrate on the API response time, so we can be confident of the API's performance as well. And integration test. I know like all these type of tests you are all aware of, and just I'm trying to touch base how you can achieve it through Postman. So integration tests are the end-to-end tests that you do when you are going to integrate multiple components or to microservices, etc. So while doing integration testing, you need to be doing the verifying the response of the first module. The top-down or the bottom-up approach. Everything can be achieved within the Postman itself. And of course, the load testing of the API during integration is also crucial, because you will be chaining together the request to replicate test cases, which is going to include both the happy and the sad part. So coming to the contract testing is a method of testing that checks a consumer communicates messages that match a given schema. So schema validation of an API is one aspect of contract testing. So again, as a beginner, you can start with a schema validation, because there is a contract between two microservices, let's say, and you are expecting that the microservice 1 will be providing a response of a particular schema to microservice 2. That is the contract, agreed contract. So schema validation ensures that that contract is acknowledged and it is respected. So Postman supports you to do a schema validation by you can store a schema in a variable and of course assert whether the response of the microservice 1 is going to be exactly matching the response of microservice 2. Whether it is providing the response as expected by the microservice 2. So this way, contract testing can also be done through Postman. And what are the advantages of doing this contract testing using Postman? Is like it is the experience, right? The schema validation experience when you do it through programmatically using your Python or Java, it takes a time in doing that. while you do through Postman, it is very simple, and most of the testers they can easily understand like what you are doing, because we are just doing the schema verification here. And of course, like the faster test runs, you will be able to test the schema difference, and you will be able to get the feedback instantly. So moving on to the next thing, how do you write tests in Postman, and where do you write? So in Postman, you're going to write a test in the test tab. I'm going to show I will be moving to the Postman Workspace soon. Just a quick intro. So JavaScript code can be written in Postman in two places. Either you write in pre-request tab or in test tab. So exactly matching how we write our test scripts in any language, programming language, Postman lets you set up your environment or your code, the test code, just like you can do actions before the test and after the test is, or after the request is sent and response is retrieved. So pre-request tab lets you to set up the environment ready for the test you are going to conduct. And test tab will help you do the assertion part of the test. And of course, you can extract the values and you can use them in your subsequent request. So in TestNG, you do right like before setup, before test and after test, or before method or after method. Just like you can relate very easily if you have been using any other programming language or framework, test framework to automate your tests. And assertions here in Postman, you can use many libraries. Those are little advanced level. I don't want to go much deeper into those libraries, but the inbuilt assertions that Postman gives you are based on Chai.js. You can refer Chai.js documentation for the available assertions. Postman suggests you the assertions that you can perform on the response object that you get for your request, and you can pick up whatever assertions you feel that is necessary for your test and right away assert them. And of course, you can, on top of the response object that you are going to get, you can write and manipulate your functions so that your test is complete and you are able to assure what the response is retrieved is as per your business requirements. So I have just captured whatever framework that I have used in my projects for using Postman. So this is the framework, simple framework I would say, to understand like how do we do test automation using Postman. So basically for let's say like collection, for each module of your project, let's say a payment module, or you create a collection for the payment module, and under each request, send request, or each request that you send is going to be a test, right? So you will be starting and create folders under payment itself. Like for your positive test cases, you can have a folder, and for your negative test cases, or if you are going to do it pathwise, choose a path. Let's say like logging in as an admin, logging in as a user, logging in as a restricted user. The paths you can take, you can create them as folders, and accordingly you can take up the request and conduct the test under the collection. So collection would be, let's say like the hierarchy would be collection, and under collection you can create multiple folders, and under folders you can group your requests accordingly for the type of test you are going to say. Or probably let's take another example where you want to check the module for the functionality. You want to write security test for that. You want to write performance test for that, and you want to write some integrated test with the other modules. You want to write some integrated test between the payment module and the cart module. So in that case, the collection would be payment, and under that you will create multiple folders like integrated test, scenario test, functional test, and performance test. So you will be able to group all your tests under the collection and run the collection. So the folder will be under your collection, and you keep refining all your requests and try to create test and write the test at the collection level. You can write the test at the collection level as well, and the individual test, individual request level as well. You can start writing tests. And when you maintain the certain test, like for example, if the response code, if you are going to write a test to assert the response code, that can be done at the collection level. If you are going to group request all the get requests to into a particular folder, it is almost going to be 200 only. So you will be able to do that test at the collection level. Repeated tests, we call it as a dry test, right? Like don't repeat yourself. So those dry tests, you can keep it at the collection level, and the individual test for the request specific to that endpoint, you can maintain it at the request level. So that's all about the framework. This is working for me. I hope I'm sharing it just that you can try if you haven't started it, and it will definitely be able to I mean, this kind of framework, right? If somebody has tried and it is working for them, you can. It's no harm to try and explore. Because to start with, I mean, you will be swamped with so many content available online, and where to start? Should I start creating collections for every other test I do, or how should I group? So I'm just trying to, I will do this demo session also, how I have grouped and shown. Okay, let's go to, let me stop sharing and share my workspace, Postman Workspace. Okay. Okay, I hope everybody is able to see my Postman Workspace. Okay. So let's start with how to write tests in Postman. This is very beginner level. I'm sure like people who are regular users of Postman can get a good refresh of all the basics here. So I am just using these collection is public to everyone, so you can go and this is the best way to begin your API testing journey using Postman. So go here and start exploring this collection. You can see the documentation available. What are the tips you have to follow while you start writing tests for your API in Postman. So let me quickly walk through the whole Postman tool itself and what are the different panels available. As we discussed, collections would be the starting point for see all this walkthrough session. What I'm doing is from the tester point of view. As a tester, I have used Postman, so I'm just sharing my experience, like which are the panels that I frequently use and how it has helped me. The perspectives might differ, so I'm just sharing with whatever I have been using Postman for. So collections is where you start. So when you want to start writing tests for a particular module, create a collection and start adding the request. You can start adding the request later part of time. You can create a folder and group them. It's not necessary that you have to go with the plan initially. You can always keep moving. I mean, if you could see, you can do all these actions on a folder. So you can create subfolders under a folder also. So it's not hard and fast that you have to plan the grouping. You have you have to create all the folders before, and then only you can start writing the test. So start with writing test, analyze the request and the response. Based on the response, you might need to add more tests as well. So explore the endpoint, analyze the response, try to write free-flowing assertions in the test tab. And after you assert the API for all the edge cases and the required test cases, then group them under your folders. So let's go through this one. I mean, this is a basic API like the postmanecho.com. It's a good starting point for the beginners. So it's just going to echo whatever you send as a request. So when you, what are the type of tests you can write in Postman? So
Anu,
yeah,
sorry to disturb you, Anu. Just maximize a little bit, Anu, your screen.
oh sure.
Mm.
Is it okay now?
No, you can maximize it a bit more.
Sure.
Um, mm. Yeah, Anu.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
It'll be useful if people are watching in their small screen as well, right? Thank you, Anu.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm.
Thanks, Priscilla. So in this collection itself, there are like self-explanatory details about like what does a test tab does and what are the different functions that you can write under a test tab. And if you could see here, let me close this one. Okay. These are handy code snippets readily available, which is provided by the Postman itself. So if you want to get a collection variable, you have to just click here. So the handy syntax or the code snippet for getting a collection variable will be added to your test tab. And similarly, if you want to assert something, like if you want to assert status code is 200, you just need to click on this particular snippet. It gets added here as part of your test tab. And as I mentioned, this all this assertions inbuilt in Postman are of char.js. So I think Priscilla or someone would be sharing the char.js documentation in your chat links. Look out for that. So understanding char.js documentations and various objects on which you can assert, it will be very helpful to make your test robust and meaningful. See, the basic or the test to begin with is asserting the response code, but you can conduct many more tests, or you can assert many more objects as part of your validation. So go over char.js documentation to understand the different possibilities in assertion inside the Postman itself. So go over this collection to if you are going to begin your testing journey with Postman. So for example, these are the assertions that was done for the response that is returned by this particular endpoint. So PM is nothing but the Postman sandbox, which we will be using to get the response, and the response object will asserted to have the status as 200, and the response object or the response body is should have a OK, and the response should be of the content type JSON. So if I can try. See, if you could see, this is what I meant. So Postman itself would be suggesting you the different assertions, for example, pm.environment. So it will be suggesting you what type of assertions you want to do. This all these are being provided by the char.js thing. And you can as well import libraries like Moment.js, Cheerio.js, and Lodash. Those are for little advanced or the intermediate users. So who are comfortable using JavaScript, they can import that using the required library. You require that library into your test tab, and you can use those libraries to perform advanced level tests or the intermediate level tests under your test tab. So I'm just covering here the basic test, what that can be done. Okay, moving on to. So likewise, what do you do in test tab? You can as well write JavaScript code in pre-request tab. So ideally, what do you do in pre-request tab? If you want to set some headers for a collection level, let's say like in our project, right? Like we don't have this API key or other authentication mechanism. We have an access key which has two parameters. Let's say like ID, a key ID, and a key secret. So I want to set that authentication before running every request under a collection. So I in the pre-request tab at the collection level, you can do it at the collection level and as well as at the individual level, right? So at the collection level, I will be able to set the headers with the authentication ID and the secret, so that it gets cascaded to all my subsequent requests that I'm going to do at the folder level and the request level. So this would be a pre-request tab would be ideal. And of course, like if you are going to extract response from your test tab and you want to pass it as part of your of the next request, right? Like you can do it using the pre-request tab. So, and I just wanted to mention here about one second. Let me remove this. Okay. So when we send this, right, like we get a response. So what is this? I mean, like if you want to save your response for further reference, for the future reference, let's say like we are in sprint 4 or 5, and after sprint 10, you want to, you almost forgot how does the response look like, or how was the retrieved response look like. So you can save this response as an example here. So you can refer, Postman saves it to you. A successful response, when you save it as an example, it comes under your collection, under the request itself as an example. So your team members can refer it for their use, and you yourself, after some of the sprints have gone by, you can come back and analyze like how was the response earlier, and if there is any variance, you can just report it as a reference for your bug report or anything. So these are some quick tips and tricks I follow while I raise a bug. So see, while during a regression cycle, it can come handy also, because storing a response in a different file and analyzing from there, you have to pick up that file while you do it. So this is a clean way of maintaining all your responses that you got in under a folder itself. So it is easy to compare. So for this particular request, I received a response like this, and I have stored it here for my future reference. So these are some of the, I mean, this is again another test that is being done here. So, okay. And let me explain this PM test as such, like what does that as this function do? So PM.test, here you give this is a free flowing text you can give, but we try to be more expressive here, and it should be a self-explanatory for your team, like what does the test do? What are you expecting the test to do? Let's say like creating a record should be successful, or you are expecting the code to be 200 or 201, or they should have a particular string like this of format. So we as uh, sensible as possible when you give the name, and of course, like what are you expecting here. It can take, I mean, like the test can be of return a Boolean value, or it can return a string. So whatever you are going to assert, you can do that. So that is all about introduction part of testing. So I'm going to show you custom how to write. We just saw like how you can make use of the inbuilt code snippets that Postman itself offers you. I'm just going to give you a quick how to write custom tests here. I have done some custom tests, written custom tests here. Let me show. Okay. So this, as a beginner, or probably you should be knowing, I mean, like I have just used I have just stored all the variables in my environment instead of using the host name or the URL again and again. I have just stored it as environment variables. You can see the different environments that you have created for your space here, and the values assigned to them here. Due to the lack of time, I'm just rushing the introduction or the beginners part here, so that we can have more time for other modules as well. So how to write a custom test? So any basic API test would have the response code, and I'm just going to let me run this first so that I can have a response here. Okay. So this is just this is going to get the list, the books, retrieve the records of books that is available here. Let me again close this. Okay. So there are a set of books that is retrieved as my response. I'm going to try to get the ID of a book so that I can assert whether that particular book is available in my subsequent call. So how to get this ID from the response? I mean, I have just used the test tab to extract the ID of the book from the response that is retrieved. So first I'm doing the test, like whether it is whether the code returned is 200, and whether the body matches string, and whether so you have to convert the response text is including the ID or not. And so here is where I convert the response to a response object, because on the response object only you can start adding assertions. So all the, I mean, when you are using the response object, right, you can use a dot operator and try to get all the keys, key values available in your response. So I'm just, and here I also wanted to mention about the console log. Console.log is a savior for testers to debug your test in Postman. So whatever you do, it's just like a system.out print. So whatever you want to check whether it is retrieved properly, whether your response is, you are able to do the get the response properly, you can use the console log to debug that. It is available here. So you can, it just prints out all that you log here. And it has like, you can do the, you can capture the errors, if you want, just like other loggers, it does have the error part, info part, or warning part. If you want to capture only the log, you can do, if you want to capture the info, you can do so, console.info, console.warning, etc. So I'm just converting the response here to an object, JavaScript object, and I'm going to get whichever book ID you want, or if you want to further enhance it, you can iterate through each, using a for loop kind of thing, or a for each, you can do, get all the IDs, and you can enhance the test by getting all the IDs in a list and iterating through the list and trying each ID, whether the ID is present in the DB or not. So, and next, for the, if you could see, I'm retrieving the ID, and here itself, I'm setting the environment, because the next request is expecting the book ID to be one of the parameters. So that is the whole purpose of test tab. You assert, you get the response, you manipulate the response to be of your expected type, and you assert the response for different conditions, and you also set up the parameters, query parameters, or whatever data that is test data that is required for your subsequent request. So all that you do in test tab. So let me go back here. So if you could see, here the next would be the post call. I'm just giving you some tips when you do a post call to an endpoint. So these are Faker.js examples that you can take. So when you want to send a post request with dynamic test data, every time you want to create a book record with a new title or a title that doesn't exist, you need not come up with any other new function that you have to, you can write new function to generate test data. But I don't think that is, that will take time, or probably to start with or to begin with, you don't need to write all that. And Postman supports many other libraries that you can easily use to create the test data. So again, if I could see, this is suggested already by the inbuilt Faker.js thing. So if you could see, when you give this, you will be able to get all the suggested different test data that you can use. For example, if you want to use a random bank account number, if you want to generate test data according to that, you can use it here. You can straight away pick up this JavaScript thing, and you can assign it to your author variable. So I'm just using full name, first name, in fact, first name. So it populates me every time with a random first name value, so that I don't repeat myself, and also the data is fresh, and I'm testing with different combinations of test data. So this can be extended. I mean, you can be as much as creative as possible here and enhance your test. I'm just giving you a starting tip to begin with, so that you don't hard code anything in your test. just because Postman is very simple, it doesn't mean that it is not helping you create tests meaningfully. It supports your test to be dynamic, the test data to be dynamic, and as creative as possible and as meaningful as possible. That is the point I wanted to convey here. So when we run this test, we can just see. So, so what was in the console, you can see what was the request body that was sent. And see, the title is again a dynamic one. The author is a dynamic one. So every time in the console would be like a print statement of your program, so that you can see all that you sent and all that you received. So here, clear the console. So I'm just writing a custom test here to have the body as message okay. I'm just making it match equal. I mean, like exactly to have the message as okay here. So these are the different type of custom tests you can write, and how you can dynamically pass your test data, input data, and retrieve the response as necessary for your project. So let me go over to another collection which I explored for my understanding of writing tests. So this is a NASA API. It is available public again. So I'm just trying to enhance my test. If you could see in these three collections, it was I understood the basics of writing test. How should I write test? How should I use my test tab, or how should I use my pre-request tab to set up my test data, etc. Here using this collection. In this collection, I have started writing to. Just started to write a custom test. I know how to save my response as an example to for my future reference, etc. And how to get the IDs dynamically so that I can store them as a environment variable that can be used in my subsequent request. So this would be another level up here. So that is the idea of this whole session. So we are learning each step by step how to enhance your API testing journey. In this, I have used a library other than the inbuilt chai.js library. So I'm going to get the NASA API gives you the response if you give a particular date, right? Like, or if you don't give the date, it's going to return you the current date's image of the some space images of the date. So that is the idea of the API. I mean, the API when sent, it returns you the image for the day. If you don't specify the date, by default, it's going to give you the today's image. So the first request is like I'm not giving any parameters. So I'm just passing the API key for the public API here. And here I have written test like let me run the API so that you get to see the response, and I will extend the test later. I hope I'm not going fast, but I'm able to communicate what I'm trying to. Okay. So this is the response for this API. So if you could see like if you analyze the response, it has different keys, and what and all I could assert is that the HD URL, this should be available because this is the URL when clicked is going to, because the image URL, right? So this is the one which is going to give me the image. So let's see, that should be present. So in that way only you have to analyze what and all assertions that has to be done on a particular response. Let me slow, I guess. Let me wait for the response. Okay, let me wait. So HD URL would be the key that I'm going to use, and of course, my test will validate whether the JSON data it will retrieve the HT URL, and I'm going to print the URL because whether the URL is retrieved properly, and of course, like the URL should be a string, and whether it should have because all the images has the JPG extension, and I have written function to return the image URL, and next would be like the get call for getting the URL itself. So in this second thing, I'm going to set the returned image URL and fetch the image in the subsequent call. So this is the next level of writing test assertions here on the retrieved response. So the next call would be like I'm trying to get the image from the returned URL of the previous response. So, and here also again, I mean, I'm just trying to validate because it's a simple get call. I'm trying to assert the response here, 200 OK response. And here in this specific request, I have added, I have used moment.js to set my test data. Like I want to pass a particular date, or let's say like a date that is a day or the date that is 7 days before, a week before. So when you want to set up test data, or when you want to work with date and time things, the type of data, right? Like you can use moment.js library that will come handy while you do testing with kind of time and date data. So I have just used moment.js to set my input data, which is like the date. I've just added a few lines of code here to get the date, so that every time it goes and sets the date as a week before and gets the response, gets the image URL of the image which was published by NASA a week before. So these are the different types of tests or probably way of enhancing your test for a particular endpoint. I'm using the same endpoint here, if you could see the image URL, but the test can, the amount of tests that you can perform, or the various different types of testing the endpoint, I have just showcased using this kind of test and pre-request app. So I think I was able to convey like what a pre-request app can do and what a test app can do. So and I'm going to cover the set next request also. What does a set next request does is that it sets up it sets up the next. I mean, it's just chaining the request. What should be your next request that has to be executed? You can mention here in the tested tab itself. So after I get the URL of the image for the particular date I'm getting, I'm setting in the pre-request tab. This is the request that has to be executed. And please note, this will run in loop if you are not setting indefinitely in loop. If you are not setting it as null, this particular request will stop the loop after this is getting executed. So the flow would be like after you get the URL of a particular date, what you have set in pre-request tab, you will get the image for that URL retrieved in the response, and you are making it, you are defining the flow to stop after this successful response of this particular endpoint is done. So this way you can chain request, or you can construct your test flow using Postman. So let's move on to, I'm again going back to my slide. Okay. So I think we have covered the first part of the agenda, which is how to start writing tests in Postman. I will be able to take up questions if you have. See, there are so many other possibilities that you can do for testing. I mean, to write tests in using Postman. This is just for beginners to start who are yet to start their API testing journey, and it would have been a good revision for all the basic concepts for people who are already using Postman. So let's get on to next part of the agenda, which is the cool new features of Postman, which are not available for readily, but it is available in beta mode. So let me also go. Let me explain flows. Actually, I think everybody would have seen who are users of Postman would have seen Beth Marshall's a flows scenario and the video she has shared how to use flows. But I'm just going to take up use case here and how I have used flows for my test automation or probably achieving my kind of scenarios. So uh, flows are basically a sequence of requests or chaining of requests. They are linked requests. You can call you can relate or probably you can understand flows as a workflow builder. So you are going to chain few requests or few actions that you do as part of your API testing, and you are going to visualize how that execution happens in a flow canvas. That is what a flow means. So ideally, you are going to I mean, we all are used to flow chart, right? Like you have a start button, you have a stop button, and you perform operations inside between the start and stop. Exactly that way, assume. But you are going to work with the APIs and what and all functions you can do with the APIs. Just we saw, right? You are going to set up test data. You are going to extract something out of your response. You are going to validate something. You are going to print something. Each function, what we did in the test tab, in the pre-request tab, or probably assertions, all that you are going to visually do it in a flow, and these functions are going to happen in separate blocks. So I'm sure like you are able to relate whatever actions or whatever we did in the previous previous workspace and relate it to flow. So every action that you perform in your request or after the response that are going to be done in different blocks, so that the user who is visually inclined, right, like can see it in a flow canvas or a flow editor kind of thing, and you can see the live execution. Uh, that is the idea of flow. So let me I have provided a link also for the flows documentation. So it is very self-explanatory. You can go over what the blocks that are available, basically the functions or the actions that you can perform in each block, you can understand. And since it is in beta phase, there are not many, there are many blocks that are deprecated and being experimented. So for the benefit of this session and for the benefit of the audience, I have taken up blocks that are, that are not deprecated and are useful for the tester from the tester's perspective. See, there can be many blocks that can be used by the developer itself, who are API first, who are adapted to the API first strategy. So they will also be using Postman, right? But that doesn't; those blocks might not be that useful for the tester. So I have taken up for the demo like what are the blocks that can be testers' favorites. So let's start analyzing the use cases where flows can be used. I'm sure like regular Postman users would have used Collection Runner to achieve their test scenarios by chaining requests subsequently. Because chaining the requests, consecutive requests. Let's say like create, get, and update. The CRUD operations that you perform for an API. You create a record, you try to get the record, you update the record, you delete the record, like set up, validate, and tear down, right? Like so, those kind of CRUD operations you would have done using a collection runner. But ideally, you can do that in a flow because it is more in a collection runner, right? You don't get to see the all that is happening visually. You can showcase it to your business stakeholders using a flow so that they can understand visually like how it is, what are you trying to do and what are you trying to achieve validating the endpoint. And that would be the use case one. And use case two, as I mentioned, like any e-commerce API that is available. I have given the link here. This is a Postman public API. Simple. You can start creating flows for this API. So it would be a good start to understand how flows work. So you will be getting the items from the DB, and you can get the item details from the DB and orders, and how to post items from the DB. See, it's a user journey that you are going to automate using the flow, and it's a visual representation what you are trying to achieve in the flow. Let's go for the flow blocks. I will be showing the demo after I explain each block, what does each block do. So basically for testing any API, as I mentioned, these are all these 5 blocks I have taken for today's demo session, considering to benefit the testers. So as a tester, you have to send request and get the response, validate it, and write test on it. And of course, like you want to know the test summary, whether it is passed or whether it is failed. And you need to have the log, or you have to print all that is happening to know what is happening, and of course, like to debug if there are any failures or errors in your execution. So let's take the send request block. So here, right, like the send request block can be used to send one of the requests defined in a collection. So you will have a collection. From the collection, you can choose which request you want to send. And inside of course, you have to choose you will be able to send the request under a collection in the particular workspace where your flow is created. Let's say like you will be able to choose a request under a collection which is there in the same workspace. And this block will be accepting a record, and you will have to set an environment variable at each step, at each block. For example, if you want to send a request like a get request, and you have the collection has a different environment, means you have to choose the environment. I can show you when I show the demo. So it is not like when you have the environment variable set up at the collection level, it gets flows. There is no common environment variable for a flow. It's environment variable per block. So there can be environment variable for send request. For each block can have a different environment variable, and likewise. So because for a collection and all, when you set an environment, it gets applied to all the requests under the collection, but under flow it is at the block level. So I hope I was clear there. So you will be able to send the request. You will be able to choose what type of request, whether it is get post, the method of the request there, and from the collection you will be able to select which request you are going to send in that block. So next comes the for each block. So for each block, as the name suggests, is the iterator control flow that can be used to loop over a list. Let's say like you get a response which is a list, and you want to iterate through each of the list items. So you can use a for each block. So the block will be returning each individual element within the list as a separate data packet. You can the input for this would be any data which contains a list. So ideally, I have also listed the blocks in a flow type only. So you send a request. So let's assume that request is going to return a list of items. So then you use for each block to iterate over the list, and then each list item is stored in a create durable. So we don't have the variables. We don't have, that is deprecated. So if you want to store all the list items, you need a durable, create durable string. So the create durable accepts or allows a Boolean, number, string, and timestamp values to be made durable. Durables are the durable data that can persist along multiple connected blocks. So when you create a durable, it is going to persist till for the subsequent blocks. Let's say like if you want to play with the list items that you retrieved as part of the send request, you are going to create a durable and use it in your subsequent request. Let's say like the first request was to get fetch the API key. You can store it in a durable, and you can use the durable blocks output to be connected with other blocks so that the authentication or the API key can be used in the other blocks of your flow. And test summary is where you get the special output terminal. It is the difference between test summary and terminal. Probably both are might sound serving the similar purpose, but the difference between like the test summary would be outputting whatever test that you have written for that request. For example, I have written a few tests for the send request means or the tests, what were the output of that test, that would be showing in the test summary. Let's say like I've written 4 tests for send request. The test summary the test summary block would be listing all the tests and what was the output of the test, how many passed and how many failed, etc. You can get from the test summary block. Terminal would be like a print. It's just going to print whatever you have the request, the response, basically what goes in and what comes out. To print whatever block has a terminal as a connected with it, right? Like let's say like we are connecting send request and the terminal block. So the request and the response, the headers, what and all you see inside a Postman panel, right? Like that all the data is going to be getting printed in the terminal block. So when you attach test summary with your send request block, you will get the test report or the test summary of your send test that you have written in the send request tab. Let me go to the Postman Workspace and show you the demo of this. Okay. Share. I hope I'm sharing. Let me also change my workspace. Flow is available for in private workspace only. That is why I need to change my workspace. So since it's a beta feature and it is available only in private workspaces, it is not open for public workspaces yet. So I have used, let me go to the collection first. What is the collection I have used here? So this is the collection I have used for my flow, for representing my flow. So this collection, it's a Postman API again, which gets you using your ID, I mean like Postman ID, right? Like you will be able to get the collections of your workspace and what are the environments, etc. And inside the collections, you will be able to get all the collections of the workspace, and you can get single collection using the collection ID that is returned as part of the collection. For example, valid response would look like a list of collections. So inside the collection list, each collection ID will be there, and you can using this ID you can get the single collection. So you will be able to see the each single collection. What does it have variables, and what is the description of the collection, etc. So and you can also create a collection, and of course like you can update the collection. So the basic idea of this API is like you can play around with the collections of your workspace, and you can also create new collections under your workspace. So I have used this particular API and this collection for my flows demo. So Are you able to see the screen here? Okay. Okay. So is it visible? I hope. Let me expand here. But if I expand, I will not be able to show you all the blocks. Okay. So we saw all the blocks in the slide itself. So this is a start block. This is just like you're going to trigger the flow. The send request block here. So I have chosen the get all collections. I mean the from the collection Postman collection. I have chosen the request to get all collections here. So I'm going to get the all. I'm going to use the request get all collections, and we saw that it was returning a list of collections. So I'm using a for each here. So here you can set what variable or what object or what key of your response you want to store in your for you get as part of your for each here. I will show the each block in a different canvas so that we can play around under what are the different functions or actions that you can do under a block. So after the for each, the list items are going to be stored or created in the durables. So using in this case, this request will return a list of items. This list will be the list items will be iterated here, and the items iterated, each item will be stored as durables here. And I'm going to send the get API for each collection ID that was stored in the durables. Let's say like 20 collections are here. 20 collection IDs will be here, and I'm going to do get each collection here, and I have written tests for this way send request. So for the send request block, I have written test, and I'm going to do the test summary block here. If you could see here, the output is test here. So this test, only this test option comes for the send request block. You don't see it here. This is data or the item, what you are going to store. So list will be having an item as an output. Send request will have test and responses. So the response object is just how we do in test tab and the pre-request tab, right? Like that's how we have here also. So in the send request block will have response and a test. So the test, I'm going to connect it with the test summary tab so that I can get a summary of all the tests that I have written for send request. And the data is stored in or created in the durables, and the data is sent as test data for the next block of send request. And again, a terminal, I wanted to print only the terminal, the get request output. I want to print it in the terminal just to showcase how a terminal looks like. And again, I have written tests here, and for that, I have attached a test summary block. So this is how you construct a basic flow. And the group and all, you can this can be a default. You have to choose which while you run the terminal, like which group you want to log. You can right now, for the purpose of simplicity, I have used a default group. You can create groups and choose like which terminal, which group of terminal you want to print all the output here. Similarly, for the test summary also, you can create groups and print or collect all your test reports there. So let's quickly run this flow and see how it works. Hopefully it should work fine. It takes a bit of time because it gets all the collection. You are able to see, I guess, the flow is navigating, and for every completion of the block, it turns green. So if there is any error, it stops the execution there itself, and the output is printed. So this block is going to obviously take time because it's iterating, it's functioning as an iterator here. And if you could see visually, for each item that is being iterated, it is passing it to the create durables, and it's getting passed to the send request. If you could see this test summary is already passed. So all the tests I have written for the send request block has passed. Let's give it a minute. Mm. You can anytime stop the execution if you want using this control here. It has fetched all the items and only this send request system. And once the execution is complete, the start gets enabled again, and you are able to see all the blocks has turned green here. So now, if you go to the terminal, you will be able to see all the. I mean, it's particularly it's actually the response what you see in the Postman when you send a request. So that's it here, and you will be able to see the test summary. So these were the tests that I had written for block. For example, you could even see now the group why the grouping of tests is required. So I'm not able to differentiate between which tests I wrote for this block, send request block, and which tests were written for this send request block. All the tests were combined here, and I'm not able to make out if there are any errors. I will not be able to identify at a glance like which block request block had errors or failures. So that is where the grouping of log group helps you. So if you group it, like let's say like I'm going to have a name, you can name the block as you want. So if you want to name the block and align the test report log group accordingly, you will be able to segregate the test summary and identify all goes well when the tests are passed, but when the failures are happening, you will be able to debug quickly and identify where the issue is by grouping them. So, I think you can start with flow with this demo, I guess. So you can clear here and go for the next execution. So this is how a flow works. So please get in touch with me if you want to have a more detailed view of how flows work. Considering the time, I'm just restricting the demo here for flows. If let's go and create a new flow to see how the blocks look like. So this is how when you start building a flow, it will look like this. So you can start the flow. This comes by default. So these are the different blocks available. What we saw, the create durables. You can delay the response if you want to loop over something, but the list is going to be a very big list. You saw the execution for my list itself for around 20 or 25 collections itself. It took more than a minute. So if it is going to be a bigger list or a huge list, you can delay the next request execution using a delay block and the for each block. Let's see. You have to see the actions or what is the variable you want to, what is the list you want to do, or what are the actions that can be performed inside the for each block. It will be listed here. I will go back to my flow and show you how I have configured, but I'm just showing it at the block level. These are the actions that you can do inside a for each level, and you can enlarge it here and see also like this will be a simple guide to you can see for each block. So after a for each block, you should have a durable. That is how it has to be made. So let's delete this and go for another block. Let's say let's go for the basic block of send request. So how do you choose a request? Here you could say I'm able to see all the collections that are available in my current workspace. Post women is my current workspace, and all the collections available in the workspace are listed here. So here I have chosen the collection, and inside the collections I will be able to see the request, all the requests. So you can choose any request which you want to send. Let's say create request would be the and you after the send request you will be able to see the response. Obviously you are going to you are going to get a response for the send request, and you will be able to write tests for the particular request. So what do you do once you add? It's very interesting and engaging to create flows because it's all it's creative also, and you are given suggestions and options to be as creative as possible and meaningful as possible. So you are given with you are left with response and test. So the next would be like what you want to do with the response. You want to validate something, you want to do some conditioning, or you want to create a durable, or these are the options that you can do. As I mentioned, some of the blocks are deprecated. That is the reason I have not used the deprecated variable, deprecated blocks here, and instead listed only the blocks that are available for use. So that's how you create, let's say, like a flow terminal. Again, terminal, you can choose the group here, whichever group. Right now, I don't have groups created, so that is why the groups are not listed. So if you have multiple groups here, you can choose between the groups. And you construct a flow. Explore flow, play with the flow editor. You will definitely enjoy the journey. Okay, let me go back to my slide again. I hope I have time. Just let me know if I'm if the time is up. Let me share it again. Okay, next we will go to advanced API monitoring. Postman users might be well known or well informed about the monitors that you create for a collection. So what does a monitor do? It constantly, you can schedule a monitor to run, or you can manually run a monitor to run the test to hit the API and get the response. Whether the API is functioning properly, you monitor the API based on a scheduled run, or you can run the monitor manually and check the health of the collection. So what is advanced API monitoring? You can right now, right? Like we have several teams working together for a particular cycle, QA cycle, or for a particular release. So you need to be informed. Each team need to be informed about your status, and probably the reports or the metrics needs to be shared across teams. And of course, like the integrated monitoring helps you achieve that. And if there is any incident that happens, if the health of the API is not going to be okay, you need to be informed at once because of the quicker need for quicker feedback cycles. Your DevOps team needs to be informed, or probably the developers need to be informed. And you as a tester also need to constantly monitor how your API functions in the product. After all, you are the one who validated the functions of the API and signed off for production, right? Like, so you would be interested in knowing how the API performs in the prod environment as well. So you can do the integrated monitoring. And I have chosen status page and Slack. Status page is an incident management page that is offered by Atlassian. Postman offers integrated monitoring with n number of tools. I will show in the space. I have just tried to capture the screenshot of that. I think I'm not. Okay. So these are the tools listed. Many monitoring tools available in the market. New Relic, Big Panda, and I have chosen Status Page and Slack for the today's demos. So you will be able to integrate your API monitoring along with the external tool like Slack or Status Page, so that the status of a component will be constantly monitored or monitored on a scheduled basis, and the incident will be created on the respective tool accordingly. And for Slack also the same way. Like whenever the scheduled run happens, I think as an automation tester, we all know how a CI/CD works, right? Like so, you will be notified when a build is successful, or when your test scripts in your CI/CD pipeline fails. So you will be notified just about your API health in Slack, or an incident will be created in status page when a component fails or an API is unhealthy. So that is what we are trying to achieve through advanced API monitoring. And so while Postman's monitoring feature allows you to monitor API performance and quality, it also provides you a glance of information and failed test counts closer to the API. So that is what we are trying to achieve through advanced API monitoring. Let's go to the workspace and see how it looks like. Again, I'm switching to my public workspace. Okay. So if your project or if your organization is an API first organization, I think you should be you as a tester should be having access to all the APIs and their API docs available. So using the API panel of your Postman, you can have the draft version of the API that you want to monitor. So here I'm trying, I have just showcased about how to monitor a public API. This is a public API that is available. I have configured monitoring for this. So you can add a monitor here. I will just in a minute show how to add a monitor here. I'm just explaining the configured monitor. So the monitor and what are the issues, it will show the one, how was the run. It has failed at some point of time. And you will be able to, at a glance, you will be able to get the status and the statistics of your scheduled runs and the health of your API. So this is the idea of advanced monitoring. And I have integrated this monitor with status page. So you will be able to report the incident in the status page. I hope I'm able to share this tab instead. Okay. I'm sharing the status page tab, and I hope everybody is able to see. So there was an incident that was reported. So that is automatically created because since it is already my API monitor is integrated here. So it would have created an incident and accordingly see what are the what is the status of the monitor here. Okay, let me go here. Okay, so when we were discussing in the slide, we spoke about the different monitoring tools that Postman monitor can be integrated. So these are the different tools. And if you could see the status page on Slack here, I have chosen this two only. It's very simple, and the configuration or creating a monitor is very quick. Very quickly you can do. Just go to the different API, and this integrated monitoring can be done at the API level or at the collection level. You will be creating a monitor for your collections, right? That also I can show after this. When you create a monitor for your collections, you can integrate that monitor also to a status page or Slack so that you get regular updates in your status page and as well as your Slack. So when you add a monitor, this is a monitor for an API. If you want to integrate it with Slack or status page, you just need to go. You have to have a account in status page. You need to provide the status page API key of yours and authenticate and proceed. So in this, they will be asking you the basic details like how you want to create incidents. Like there should be a template, right? Like what is the component you want to identify. You will be able to choose the components where you want to check the health and of course, what would be the template of the incident summary? You want to call it as, the API health is not okay, or what is that you want to term the incident as, and how you see the severity scale, whether the incident reported from this Postman should be a severe one or a major one, accordingly the scale values, and of course, the failure should be reported as operational or it is a maintenance or investigating. What is that phase? because this incident is viewable. If you could see the status page, the status page would be accessed by your team members. Let's say that your DevOps team might not have access to your Postman collections or your Postman monitors, but they will be looking at the status page for the incident. They should know the details for acting on the incident based on the information that you are providing through Postman by integrated monitoring. So while configuring that integrated monitoring, you have to ensure like you are able to provide all that information while the incident is reported. So that is status page. I can show my status page once more. So this is my status page. These are my components I have created. And if you want to see the status page, it will be looking like this. The dashboard will be looking like this. So these are the different API health you will be. So if you could see your DevOps person or your team will be looking at the status page like this. So when there are incidents and they will be able to go and check immediately. This is the dashboard. This is what I mentioned. These are the things you choose while configuring a status page. When the API health is not up to the expectation, what you want to call it as and how you want to term as. These are all are configurable. And so all these options will be provided inside the Postman itself. When you provide an API key, you can do the configuration and get started with publishing your incidents from reported in the Postman in your status page. Likewise, you can also do it with Slack. Let's go to Slack. So Slack, you should have a you will be prompted to go to Slack, provide the authentication, ensure your authentication handshake is proper, and then configure which workspace you want to in Slack. Let me go to my Slack once again. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to share here. Let me share my full screen. I hope I'm sharing my whole screen. So I have configured Slack for my collection monitor. So as I mentioned earlier, the monitors can be configured at the collection level and at the API level, individual API level. Status page we saw at the API level. Slack I have configured at the collection level. So NASA exploration collection we just saw while writing test. For that collection, I have created a monitor, and that monitor is integrated with Slack. So whenever there is a scheduled run, I will be able to get updates in my Slack, like what is the success of the monitor. I mean, what success rate, whether it is passed or failed, and what was the response time, and whether the test has passed, and what are the number of requests that was sent as part of the collection run. So likewise, you can integrate with Slack. Let me again go back to. Okay. So these are advanced API monitoring using Slack and status page. Let's. I hope you are able to see my screen slides. So the API uptime monitor. Again, this is another beta feature that we want to cover as part of the session. So what we saw as part of the monitor, the integrated monitoring is like at the collection level or at the API level. API uptime monitor will be possible. I mean, you can configure API uptime monitor at the each request level. Let's say usually the monitors right now, which is available for public users of Postman, is that at a collection level, you will be able to create a monitor. You will be able to schedule the monitor to be run at regular intervals, and you will be able to get the results on your monitoring dashboard. You will not be able to do the monitoring at the request level. let's say like we will go here. So let's go to the collections. So monitors can be, if I go and create a monitor, right? You will be able to choose any existing collection or a new collection. You will not be able to create at the request level. If you want to monitor a particular request under the NASA exploration collection, right? Like let's say the collection here. If I want to do this at the request level, I will not be able to do at this moment. So what Uptime monitor you can do is that you can create the monitor at the request level. That is what is possible with the Uptime monitor. You will be able to create and monitor at the request level and can monitor the response and the health of the particular request or the API. And based on that, you can do your validations accordingly and report the incidents. So let me go back here and show. So this is the whole point. So you will do no need to do it at the collection level. And of course, like when you're choosing collection only, you will be requiring the environment variables at which point you have to do. You just need to give the specify the monitor name and the endpoint URL. Let me go and show how to create an uptime monitor also. It is available as a beta feature, but no harm in exploring that. Okay. So at the collection level, I can go on. This is how a monitor looks like. So already frequent users of Postman should be knowing how a monitor looks like, and all this results of the monitor can be integrated with the external tools like Slack or Status Page. This is what I wanted to show you. So you can run manually also, and you can, one second. Okay, this has been recently. So this was the API that was run, and this failure incident was reported in the status page. And let's go to the collection and see. Okay. Yeah. So individual requests or under these collections can have separate monitors with the uptime monitor APIs, and you can get updates regarding the health of your endpoints quickly using the API monitor. So that's all I have got for today. So I hope like Priscilla and the team would have shared many interesting resources to learn about Postman and how to start your API testing journey. In addition to that, I shared this for your reference. Learning.postman.com is, is a huge ocean where you can get resources for any topic on Postman. Start your journey there, and you can navigate through various other aspects of Postman as you explore. So, and be part of the community, Postman community, where you get instant answers. It's a forum that is very active. You get replies for your questions within hours time. So engage in the community and get get to know new things happening in Postman. And see API testing as we speak. critical, it's vital, it can give you a shorter feedback time, etc. So nothing should stop you from taking or pursuing API testing journey. The whole idea of the session was like everybody should start doing API testing. And Postman can assist you in that API journey very in a very simple and meaningful manner. That's what I wanted to share today. I hope you all got to learn something out of the session.
Yes, I know. Of course, it was amazing. It was amazing, and I believe you already crammed our brains. No, so we have to think about, and it takes a lot of time to come out of it and to digest everything and to start working out. So thank you so much for your time, and you put it all well together with your demos and your ready workspaces. So please, people were expecting a lot about your public workspace, so that was the most waiting URL. So please drop them an URL about of your public workspace, and that'll help them. Okay, and maybe if you have any other questions, guys, please feel free to reach out to Anu. And since due to the time constraint, like, is it okay? Like we move on to quiz directly, Anu? Hmm? Okay, you are on mute. You're on mute. No
Sorry.
problem.
No, if there are a couple of questions I can take.
Okay, just one. I'll show you. Just this one. How
Is
can
it
we
regarding
maintain?
flows?
Yeah, this is regarding flows exactly.
How can we maintain different requests in for each block? In for no, I mean like it's like as I mentioned while during the demo, it's like for one request block, one for each block. That is how
Hmm.
it has to be. You
Okay.
chain, right? Like
Hmm.
you write test for a particular request. Likewise, you do the for each operation on the response of the particular request block. So I don't think you
Okay.
can do different requests for a
Request.
for it.
Okay. No, thank you. Thank you so much. So, so maybe we will move on to the quiz part. Just give me a
I'm
minute.
I'm excited actually.
Okay. So just a minute. Just give me. So,
So like, I think there are several questions. I will start answering them in chat if you don't know.
okay, sure. No, you can go through the chat. Okay, for any Q&A session, we don't have anything for now. That was
Okay,
the
sure.
only question. Others, maybe in the chat, we might have something which we missed. You know, you can go through that. Okay, so so right now, I just want everyone to keep your devices ready. You might get the link to join the chat quiz as well. Else, you have the QR code here. Yeah, you can scan this as well. Either option, guys. You can. Nitin has messaged the URL to join the quiz. You can go ahead. Else, if this is comfortable, you can scan this QR code, and it'll help you to enter the quiz. Oh, yeah. See, good. Okay, nice. Okay, come on. We have 36 people in the session and just 17 players. Yeah, come on, please. Okay. There is nothing to lose in joining, right? So come on. Okay. 28 players. I think, yeah, we can 29. Okay. Was that enough? Like, shall we get started? We have 29 players for now. Mahati seems like so excited. Okay, Mahati, come on, go get them. So, ready? All the best, guys, to all of you. We are also equally excited as you all, and I believe Anu is also. So, let's get started. So, this is the first question. A group of saved or predefined HTTP requests in Postman. What do we call them? So, you have the options, four options, and we have 20 seconds for every questions. Okay, great.
It's
So
good
we
to see
got
the live
19
results.
people. Sorry, Anu?
No, it's good to see the live results. Exciting.
Yeah, so it's 19 people, and we confused five members, and I'm really sorry for that. So we'll go to the next one. So far this is the leaderboard. So every question will have the leaderboard. So Janvi, Saravanan, and Vaibin, Utsav, Mahati. So the top people. So come on, guys, keep up the spirit. Question number two. Can request under a collection further be grouped? True or false? Just two options. Simple and confusing now. Wow, perfect. Okay, so
You were wrong, Priscilla, actually.
yeah, so it seems
Everybody,
like they were so clear. No, come on.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the leaderboard, yeah, because of this, it's okay. Okay, the fastest hands. Come on. You have to be a bit more faster, guys. Okay, question number three. Okay, HTTP status code returned for an authentication failure. 404, 201, 401, and 400. Okay, good. Okay, so 401 is unauthorized, and so the leaderboard. Okay, Janavi, Saravanan, Rahul, Suraj, Vaibin, Mahati. Come on. Okay, guys, we still got some more time. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Question number four. Organize all work related to Postman and collaborate with your teammates here. How do we do that? Through collections, workspaces, mock servers, and environments. Okay, workspaces. Perfect. Okay, so, okay, great. We got a new person, Suraj. Okay, come on. So, yeah, Rahul also joined the board. Okay, great. So, still we are few more questions to come up. Okay, keep up the pace. Question number 5. JavaScript code can be returned here in Postman. Okay. We have 4 options. Okay. Yeah, prerequisite script test. Okay, we confused them. I know. I'm sorry. So 18. Great. So the leaderboard is.
No,
Oh my God.
as we progress, the test request questions are getting complex.
Yeah, you're right. But Janvi seems been like so speed. Okay,
Beaten.
Suraj, yeah, Rahul, Chase, Vaibi, and Mahati. Okay, come on, you guys can do it. Okay, just try to speed up a bit. Okay, monitor is used to track, check API health and performance periodically. True or false? Simple. Go get it. Great. 27. Perfect. So leaderboard. Okay. Okay. So yeah, Chase is improving. Rahul is improved. Great. Okay, we have just 4 more questions left. Fast enough. Helps in quick debugging of the test. It's that. Reporter, Newman, Flow, console. What's that? Time's up. Not bad. Good, good. Oh my god. Come on. Janvi, Rahul, Chase, Suraj, Vaibin, and Manjusha. Okay, she joined recently. Good going, guys. Okay, keep it up. Eighth question. Others, please don't give up. We still have a lot of time. Assertions in Postman are based on the capabilities of Chai.js library. True or false? Simple. Who doesn't want swags? No, like Postman swags. We want to like brag about it, wear it, or something. So please speed it up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Time is up. Okay, not bad. 27 and 2 wrong. That's it. So the leaderboard. Okay, it's Janavi, Rahul, Chase, Vaibin, Manjusha, and Saravanan. Okay. Good job. Just 2 more questions. Command line collection runner for Postman. Okay. I have 4 options. Just 2 more questions. Please fasten up. And of course, no, 1 more question. Okay. It's okay, Ram. Don't feel about it. We will have another quiz sooner or later. Done. Great. Newman collection runner. Okay, we still confused you, right? Yeah, I know. So clever. It's command line collection runner. So great. Wow. Perfect. Come on, Rahul. Rahul, Chase, Vaibin, Janavi, Saravanan. Okay. So now it's a deciding part. We are in question number 10. Okay. All ready? Okay. Which command will set which request to be executed next? Okay. We know that. Oh, okay. It's okay, Mahdi. It's okay. You did a great job. Okay, Prachi, please don't feel. What is that? Okay. Okay. Are we excited to see the leaderboard now? Okay. On the count of one, two, and three. Okay. Okay. So we got the top three winners. So it's Janavi, Sarvanan, and Rahul. Right? We got three winners, right? I know top three winners, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Congratulations, Tanvi, Saravanan.
Okay. Okay. And maybe we'll just try to go through everybody. I believe everyone did a great job, Anu, right? Everyone was pretty good. Rashmi, Nikhuz, Ram, Suraj, Mahati, Tuba. Yeah, we have a lot more people. I believe everybody did a good job, guys. Thank you so much. And I know it's all about time as well, right? So the fastest finger. So it's Janavi, Saravanan, and Rahul. Thank you so much. Great. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I believe we are in the last session, like the last phase of the session. So anything want to add up? Anything? Anybody wants to add anything here? Anu, you want to say something?
No, I want to thank you all. I mean, I
Hmm.
know uh, I have taken up so much time. I mean, we are about 10 minutes or 15 minutes past the planned time. Sorry for that, taking your time.
No, no, please don't be sorry. I believe everybody really enjoyed the session. It was so lively, right? So they really enjoyed the session, and I believe like they really spent their weekend in a very good way, and you really made it happen. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for selecting the topic and making like putting all this together from zero to hero, as you mentioned in your the content topic details. So it was really good, yeah, and
And
still
Priscilla,
we yeah, no.
if I can mention one, I mean,
Mm,
see, I when I go to the chat, right? Like I also wanted to deep dive on a particular topic, but when we do these kind of sessions, right, workshop sessions or a webinar kind of thing, we have to be balanced and time boxed activity as such. So we try to give equal weightage for each topic, and we want to pull audience of, I mean, different levels also. So that is when a particular topic might not be that in detail. So if you want to go in a particular topic out of what we covered today, please get in touch with me so that I can share the content or probably more insights on that particular topic or
mm.
request for the topic so that we can have another session, especially for that topic.
Sure, Anu, sure.
We
That
don't
is
want
really a nice
we don't
suggestion.
want to go anyone with a broken heart, like we want to cover up for all that in detail next session.
Yeah, thanks, thanks for being so kind. And yeah, guys, I hope you heard it. So please drop in your suggestions. We are all ears. So as Anu mentioned, if not this topic, maybe that will be helpful for her to plan her the future sessions. And of course, then that time, I believe you guys will be so happy that you guys got what you were expecting. So thank you, and we are getting really a lot of messages, Anu. So thank you so much. Maybe we will read it later, and you can try to respond. Okay. Okay, guys, and thank you. Every end is a new beginning, and of course, 2022. It's just 2 months are over, right? So, of course, 2 months are already over in 2022. So it's been running so fast. So these are the social media handles you can try and stay in contact with Synapse. So it's in either way. So if you want to start being a community member, and if you want to start contributing in any form, reach out to Nitin or reach out to Synapse. Anybody's happy to help you. And as Anu mentioned, if you want to be a supernova for Postman, even that is also we can help you on that, and just try it and go for it. So we are always here, and anything and anything. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure, Ajay. Ajay has mentioned a suggestion. Don't take Postman API as an example and take APIs of other sources. Okay. Okay. Maybe we'll try to do the next demo with other sort of public API, so the simpler ones, Ajay. Thank you for that. Okay, guys, maybe it's time to say bye, right? How long we can hold Anu? She needs a break. And thank you so much, everyone. So I'll be just finishing the session. See you all. Bye bye.